Right, I've got a couple of species to have a look at here, a couple more wild foods. So it's April time, so there's lots of stuff coming up in the woods at the moment. Unfortunately, it's all about to get covered in caterpillar frass, or caterpillar poo, which is the little black spots and flecks that we can see on the leaves here, okay? So obviously this one here that we're looking at with the caterpillar poo on is the humble stinging nettle, okay? You could write a book about this plant in terms of its uses, from making cloth to a food to a medicine, very, very high in protein. Now, what stings you is formic acid injected by the hairs. So when we're making cordage, we pull those hairs out with a particular technique. If we cook it, then so long as it's been exposed to 85 degrees Celsius, formic acid ceases to be. So therefore you can't be stung by it. Now, when it is green and growing and young, like this, then obviously you've got to be a little bit careful when you go to handle it. Once you've cooked it, then it's completely safe to touch all over, okay? So the only bit of the plant that we can eat without danger at this time is those top two little leaves, which, just to prove it, no grimacing, because my tongue is not getting stung. However, you'd be a long while getting nutrition if you picked the top two tiny infantile leaves off of each stem and tried to get a meal. So far better is actually to just pick a whole stem of reasonably fresh foliage, blanch it over in the thermal column from the fire so they go a little bit crispy, and then you can munch them safely and they taste a little bit like bacon crisps, but I'm sure much better for you. Okay, and then lurking among this, we have got cleavers. Gallium aperine, or sticky willy. So this is the plant that as a kid you probably stuck to your friends when you were walking to school. So it's got little hairs on it with little hooks on the end, which makes it stick to stuff. I have heard some people say this is possibly the inspiration behind Velcro. No idea if that's true or not, but it does work like that. So we'll just borrow my daughter for a moment. Stand there, Lucy. And we can see sticky willy is easy to identify, because if you can stick it to your clothing, you're on the right track. So we've got,
not losing your kids.
We've got walls of leaves coming out in circles along the stem. Just look at another couple here. Okay, and when it's young like this is April time, remember, it's actually quite fine as a salad. A lot of books describe it as being bitter and needing cooking all year round. I don't agree. I quite like it now. Before it becomes really bitter, it becomes a bit too hairy and textured as well, and you kind of, it doesn't feel on your tongue like something you ought to be eating just from the texture of it. So at that point you can just blanch it in hot water just to soften it up and get rid of the bitterness. But this time of the year we can pick it and eat it as a salad. So that is Cleavers Gallium aperine.